Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more.
What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane back again with another amazing All American video. And in this video, we are breaking down episode 4 from season 2. Let's get into it. All right, this episode I feel like was a lighter one in reference to the dramatics, but it's because this episode was very exposition heavy. We got a ton more backstory on specific characters. We got a little bit of connective tissue, as well as some updates for where characters are and where they hope to go within their specific journeys, right? So this video is going to be, I think, a lot quicker than my most recent videos because, child, between the season finale from season 1 and the first 3 episodes of this season, it has been a lot to break down. Some of my videos have been a little bit longer, but this one I think is going to be kind of short and sweet. And to catch us up, we start off with Billy and Corey, but not present day Billy and Corey, middle school Billy and Corey, when they first meet on the football field, which is really great. They become kind of like the main storyline in this episode. It's kind of like them competing with Spencer and his worry of Layla as like the number one driving storylines. But I think the parents really take the focus in this episode, specifically Billy and Corey, because we get quite a few flashbacks to them from the ones in middle school to when they're actually in high school. We get the flashback to when Corey first sees Grace, and then Billy's like, yeah, I heard her name is Grace. And we get a little bit more backstory onto all of their relationship and how they know each other. So Billy and Corey kind of became best friends after they met on the football field in middle school. They went to high school together, and then they both, we get the moment where Corey sees Grace for the first time and Billy had just heard of her. And then we also get a flashback later on while Billy and Corey are talking, and we get to learn that Billy dated Grace first, and then Corey and Grace dated, and then all that became of them became of them. I thought it was super cool how they implemented the flashbacks in this episode. Like, the one that's my favorite is when Grace is walking up to the reunion to like check in for like the day's activities, and they both see her walking up, and they both go back to the exact same moment in the hallway in high school when they saw her. I was like, oh, Grace was that girl. Yes, we love to see it. I love that for you, sis. So I thought that was really cute, and I love how they employed the flashbacks in this episode. Ultimately, we really just got to track Corey and Billy's relationship so we could really get a better understanding to where they were as friends and who they were to each other. And we really learned in this episode that they did mean a lot to each other. And then unfortunately, not only was it the relationship between Corey and Grace that put a strain on their friendship, but also Billy dealing with his mother and her illness, and then ultimately the loss of his mother, and the only way that he knew how to process that particular loss. And unfortunately, in this episode, we're also seeing Corey on a personal level go through something. He's hiding a conversation. He's acting a little bit different. One minute he's excited and he's happy to be there. He's making plans with Spencer. Everything is great. The next minute he seems down, a little bit depressed. We get the confrontation with Billy, Corey in the hallway about them saying things that had yet to be said, where they try to like put all of the bad blood to rest. Because ultimately, y'all, even though they're not like technically best friends in this moment, they have always still been like best friends and brothers to each other, which is very interesting to see. It's so crazy how Spencer and Jordan have developed a relationship, because I kind of feel like it mirrors a lot of what we see in this episode with Billy and Corey. Specifically, like, Billy, did you teach Jordan to swing on people? Because Billy swings on Corey in this, and it's like, Corey should be the one swinging on you. You the one ruining everybody's marriages out here acting a monkey fool. But I digress. Anyway, I just thought that was cool how we get the simile in that. And then ultimately, Corey trusts Billy with the letters to his sons when he chooses to leave again. And we have no idea why he leaves again. And I'm sitting here like, sir, this is before I've seen all of the episodes. When I first saw this, y'all, I was like, we were rooting for you. I might as well have been Tyra Banks. We were rooting for you. You gonna pull this again after we just let you back into this house? We just let you back into our hearts. We just let you back into our minds. And this is what you do with it? This is what you do with it? Oh no. I was completely outraged. And honestly, I was outraged to the point where you really forget that there's something happening with Corey, so that there has to be a reason. Like, once he gets to the moment where we see that he's about to leave and he just seemingly don't care, I totally forgot that he got this phone call that we know nothing about. I forgot that he's depressed. He did his little last dance with Grace, told her, girl, I accept your apologies and I apologize. We are good. He's literally making amends, and I'm just like, sir, I still want you to not leave Spencer, because this is about a major problem, bro. A major problem. So that again is the major plot points, the story of this episode. Also, we are trailing Spencer, who initially tries to skip class with Layla so that he can accompany her because he saw the bracelets, he saw the cuts on her wrist the night before. He still ain't say nothing yet. When he sees them again at the top of the episode, he decides to skip class with her versus saying something. But then ultimately he gets called to say something when she tries to get mad frisky in the James house, and Miss Grace don't play that. Spencer's just like, look, she gonna come home, catch me, let me just go ahead and say what I gotta say. And he does. Of course, Layla gets defensive because she is depressed. She is struggling with her isolation and loneliness. She's struggling with her thoughts. Like, sis is really dealing with a lot alone, and I can understand how that is very hard to try to articulate. A lot of cases, when you need help the most, it's the worst place to be because you cannot ask. Like, it's almost like you're in a glass box and you're screaming for help, but nobody can hear you because all the sound is trapped in with you. But on the outside, it just looks like a pretty nice little box, and you look just fine, or kind of maintain it, because Olivia and Spencer are very clearly like onto her in this episode. They know something is up, they know something is off, they just don't know what. And Olivia is the first one to bring the depressive conversation up because she tells Spencer about Layla actually trashing the house and there not being a second break-in like she said, which pushes him to like worry even more. And they decide to concoct this plan to go and find her. And of course, Olivia knows where she possibly could be. They find her hotel room, go in and see exactly what she has been living in for weeks by herself, while she's lying and saying that she's at home, while she's lying and saying that her dad is here and he's not here, and they having breakfast and he buying this and they doing that. All of that was a lie, and they literally walk in and get the full visual manifestation of like something is really wrong with this girl, and that tells them to call JP, as they should. I don't think that Spencer and Olivia were wrong at all in calling JP. It was time. Somebody need to step in. Layla, when left to her own devices, she cannot handle this by herself. She doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't know how to emotionally process all that's going on with her, and she needs the support of her parents. That's why you live with parents when you're a child, because you need help. Got this girl out here by her damn self fending for herself. JP need to go cut me a switch. Anyway, let me not go there. Also in this episode, y'all, we get to see some really cool twin moments with Jordan and Olivia. When I was watching them in this episode, I was like, should I go back and try to find all the times that Olivia was such a great sister to Jordan, because they have some really cute moments in this episode. She actually bribes him to come to the reunion and support Billy, and tells him, yo, you can take my car for your little date if you come and support our dad. So that was really cool. But ultimately that becomes a problem because Jordan does what? Crashes the dang on car, getting both him and Olivia in trouble, pulling Laura back into her bad cop bag. And one thing that I wanted to note, I actually wrote this down, I was just like, I don't like how Jordan weaponizes secrets in the way that he does, and he does it consistently in this series, and nobody's calling him on it. So when he gets caught and he's like, when did y'all switch? When did you and dad switch? And he's like, you're usually the good cop and he's the bad cop. And that basically just outs the fact that Billy knew that he had Olivia's car. And it's just like, he uses information to get the heat off of him in moments, and he did it a lot in season 3. And while he could be right, or while it could be true, I don't like that they just kind of let him off the hook with that. So in that moment, Laura diverts her attention from him and like instantly gets mad at Billy, and it's like, Jordan, it doesn't even matter, you're wrong, so just shut the hell up, period. Go sit down. Like, part of the problem specifically with Jordan, but then also we see this happen with Olivia also later on in the series, is that they don't actually check them for their bad behavior. Like, they might get grounded or take their phone or their cars, but they don't actually get called out in the moment of like, you cannot say this, you should not say this, this could be true, but guess what, you're still wrong. It does not equate to you getting out of this. So much, I feel like, by way of Jordan, he's able to scapegoat a lot of things. When he is dead wrong, he'll pull up some secrets or some half-truths or some twisted narratives, and now he'd scapegoated his way out of all the responsibility. And whether she's typically the good cop or bad cop or not, and whether Billy should have told him, or whether Billy has the prerogative as a parent to make the decision of, you know what, I'm not going to out you in this moment, that has nothing to do with the fact that Jordan should not have been driving the car, and definitely should not have crashed the goddamn car. Like, can we stay focused? And can we check him on his privilege and his entitlement? Because enough is enough. When is Simone entering the building? Because I have had enough. Y'all know I do not like Jordan without Simone. Where is she? You know what? She was actually calling in this episode, and he was not answering the phone, and get into an argument with one of these other little rando thought pockets, and ended up through a fence. See, that's what you get. Better go get Simone. Also, y'all, I wanted to make a note because this was given a lot of time in this episode. Asher's mama. Asher mama comes back into his life, but only to get him to deliver divorce papers to his daddy. It's the having two trash ass parents for me. It's the selfishness and the delusion for me. It's the your son has been sleeping in a car, bouncing from house to house, having casino nights trying to make rent for an apartment that he would never be able to sustain and afford, while also putting extra pressure on himself and trying to make it out because he don't feel like he has any kind of hopes or prospects. And you running around here talking about I'm getting married, be happy for me. For me, girl, I can't. By the end of the episode, his mama confronts the daddy talking about I want to be in his life. Well, sis, you a day late and a dollar short. Don't get off my front porch, please. And I don't even like Asher Daddy, but get off my front porch before I cut the sprinklers on. Get off my porch. Some other things I want to point out. Layla spazzes on Spencer and they break up in this episode, but it's of course because, you know, she gets defensive. She breaks up after they come to the hotel. She sees them in the hotel room, walks in as they are calling JP. And of course, that's to be expected. I don't even think Spencer felt bad about it, but I don't think he took it as seriously as it actually was because of course she's going to do this. She's been deflected and defensive this whole time. It really makes me interested to see what the next episode was going to be. Of course I know because I've already watched it, but this was like how they did it really set it up for you to go a few episodes with this storyline and like want to know what's going to happen and how will this onion continue to unravel. Another thing I wanted to note is that it was really interesting to me that they chose to use the idea like when Spencer skips class with Layla and she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do today, because he's like, what are you going to do today? She's like, I don't know, maybe I'll go see a psychic and see where I'll be in 20 years. And he's like, I'm gonna skip class with you, but no psychics, please. As soon as they said that, y'all, I went right to Vegas and I was just like, and then he turns around and does the psychic reading, even though he didn't want to do that with her either, with Olivia in Vegas, and then we get the little nod there. I haven't really like connected it or anything. I'm just making those 2 points, y'all. I'm gonna think a little bit more about it, see if that says anything about his character or anybody's character or whatever, but I just thought that they were both, it's just kind of serendipitous and I wanted to mention that because it came to mind. All right, y'all, I think that is it. I think that's my full breakdown for season 2 episode 4. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button because as you can tell, your good sis is all up on the All American content. I'm releasing new All American content every day, giving you all the information that you need. Yo, if y'all not following me, also follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, because y'all be sliding my DMs and asking questions. A lot of those questions spark new videos and keep the conversation going. Like, I'm y'all resource. I'm your All American resource. And be sure to hit the subscribe button, join the tribe, so that you can be a part of this community. You can, you know, have all the information that you need. And when you want to talk about this, talk about All American, I'm here for you to do so. We got over 200 All American videos, plenty of content for you to jump into and enjoy, to debate with, to question, and all of that jazz. I really hope that y'all are enjoying me going back to seasons 1 and season 2 to break these things down. We are counting down to season 4. They're currently in production, and season 4 will premiere on October 25th. Cannot wait. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow in the next amazing All American video. Playlists are on screen now if you missed any of the others. Bye.